Nicole Cappelazzo is back, but you should watch the show anyway. It's the Prefect Report with Solomanico and Cappelazzo, where Ben and I get to pretend to be sportscasters for a few minutes each week. But seriously, Nicole, good to have you back on. It's been a while, to the point where I was starting to question your level of commitment to the show. But like I said, good to have you back on and fully healthy. I actually did want to give you credit for one thing. Apparently, since I gave my son's safety presentation in assembly last year, you've actually been checking the UV index. Is that true?
It is true.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Everyone should be doing that, by the way. And now that I've said one positive thing about you, I get to say 5 negative things, right, Ben? Is that how the ratio works?
That's what Postman said.
So our poll question today, this is a new thing. Our poll question today is, what is your best Nicole Cappelazzo insult? Now, I'm just joking, but we encourage you to chirp any of the hosts at any time, especially Nicole Cappelazzo. Our real poll question is, what is your go-to excuse for not doing your homework? I've heard some good ones in my time at Ridley. So if you have an answer to that, then please post it in the comment section of this video. Once again, what is your go-to excuse for not doing your homework? And please don't say computer issues or it wasn't on TigerNet. We're looking for something more creative than that. Okay, one more thing before we move on. In order to get our view counts up for these episodes, I've basically been sending them to everyone I know, including my extended family. So some of my family members are actually pretty big fans of the show, and for some reason, my one aunt is a huge fan of yours, Nicole. I texted her the last couple episodes thinking that she might, praise my performance, and instead, all she wrote back was, "I miss Nicole. When's Nicole returning?" So I'm starting to think she likes you more than she likes me. In fact, she even made this video message just for you.
Hi, I'm the president of the Nicole Cappelazzo fan club, and we have a special message for her. Bring back Nicole to the Prefect Report. She's the best host, and she's totally gonna win the ball hockey tournament. We also have a message for you, Tyler. You're going down! Hashtag Nicole's #1 fan.
Well, I'm glad you have a passionate fan base, Nicole. I actually didn't realize how popular of a co-host Nicole would be. I'm thinking we should just rename the show the Nicole Cappelazzo Show featuring Jared Sloan and Ben Mandigo. I'm not sure whether Mr. Postman would let us do that, but I kind of want to, because then you would actually have to show up to every episode. And now, as part of our effort to get Nicole more airtime while she's here, we're going to put her and another fan favorite prefect, Marlize Van Sittert, through the Best Friends Challenge. The rules are very simple, Nicole. If you win, you may continue your friendship, and if you lose, you must end your friendship. Good luck. So how long have you guys known each other?
Since grade 1, technically.
It should be a piece of cake then. Okay, Marlize, what is Nicole's favorite color?
Gray.
What is Marlize's favorite movie?
The Incredibles.
What is Nicole's favorite song?
Pound the Alarm.
What is Marlize's favorite Chartwell's meal?
Chicken.
What is Nicole's favorite subject?
English.
What is Marlize's middle name?
She doesn't have one.
What is Nicole's birthday?
May 25th.
What is Marlize's biggest fear?
Spiders.
Marlize, what's the biggest fight you've ever had with Nicole?
Yesterday, she didn't answer my text messages when we were meant to go out, and then she just left me hanging on Thanksgiving.
Marlize, what did Nicole want to be when she was younger?
A vet.
Nicole, who would win a UFC fight between you and Marlize?
Marlize, look at her legs.
What secret talent does Nicole have?
She gets injured.
What fruit best represents Marlize's leadership style?
Guava? What did you say? Guava? I said papaya. Papaya.
If Nicole won the lottery, what's the first thing she would buy?
A book.
I'm asking because this is such a warm and positive show. Nicole, what's one thing about Marlize that you find annoying?
There's so many. The way she runs. Why don't I get to answer that?
You respond to camera.
She should get to answer.
Say whatever you want.
The fact that you don't take the though you're the best at that. And then you make me do it.
And you're back.
Yeah, I know. Okay, whatever. So, on the topic of field hockey, we've heard that there's some apparent beef between the first field hockey team and the second boys soccer team, even though we don't even know who's on that team. So, we'd like to see how you do in both a field hockey game against us and a soccer game against us, because we're pretty confident that we'd wreck you.
So I think our show has officially hit the big time because we are about to have the headmaster of Ridley College on the program. Mr. Kidd, we've been looking forward to talking to you, and thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you, Jared. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So to get us started, could you maybe just talk a bit about Ridley's football history and the exciting event that's coming up on Sunday, October the 28th?
Well, as I hope a lot of students know, Ridley has a pretty impressive football history and long football history of playing Canadian football. At one point, it was called rugby football back in the 1890s. And it really started with the second headmaster of Ridley. His name was Dr. H.C. Griffith, Harry Griffith. The Griffith Gymnasium is named in his honor. He had played he graduated from Ridley, went on to University of Toronto, played football for University of Toronto, and then he became a coach of the University of Toronto football team. He was the first coach, in fact, of the University of Toronto team that won the very first Grey Cup in 1909. And he was the first winning coach. He then came to Ridley as a teacher and eventually became the headmaster. He coached football here for many, many decades. And football was played, between the Little Big Four. The Little Big Four was Trinity College, TCS, and St. Andrews, and Upper Canada College, and Ridley, and a very strong football tradition of playing in rivalry against those teams. So we are doing something that's coming up on Sunday, October 28th, that I've been intending to introduce for a number of years, and finally we're going to make it happen. And that is a turkey bowl. And the turkey bowl is often a tradition in the United States and in Canada around Thanksgiving, where amateurs get together and play a fun game of touch football or flag football. And so I thought, let's introduce that to Ridley, and we're going to play grade 9s and grade 10s and 11s and 12s. We're going to have a faculty team, and we're going to compete and have fun in the spirit of Ridley's football legacy and football tradition.
All right. So you've talked about Ridley's football history. Could you now talk a bit about Mr. Kidd's football history? Because not everyone at Ridley is aware that our headmaster was a national football champion in university.
Yeah, football was a big part of my life growing up. I played a lot of sports, but football was my favorite, and I played high school football, and then I had the great opportunity of playing football at university, at Queen's University for 5 years, and we had a pretty good team. For 4 years, we were, in the top 5 in the country, played in many national semifinals, and then finally, in my senior year, my fourth year at Queen's, we made it to the Vanier Cup, the national championship. We played at the Sky Dome against the St. Mary's University in Halifax.
Slotback, number 20, Ed Kidd.
Demi-serré, numéro 20, Ed Kidd.
And the best receiver on this football team, Ed Kidd.
And although we were the underdogs, and every national media outlet suggested that St. Mary's was going to trash us, and we indeed did the exact opposite. We won 34-0. It's the only, to this day, it remains the only shutout in Vanier Cup history. And every year we have a tradition, my teammates and I, of we watch the Vanier Cup, sometimes live, but as soon as both teams score, text messages and emails go around for everybody saying we still have the record, of a shutout Vanier Cup victory.
Yeah, I remember St. Mary's, from the broadcast, their defense being, pretty vaunted, going into that match. But like you said, you guys had the better defense in that game, it seemed.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a bit more about that game, because Jordan, Ben, and I, in preparation for this interview, were watching the TSN broadcast of the game, and we found it pretty entertaining because we recognized a lot of the TSN people covering it. Gordon Miller was in the booth,
Wow.
Rod Smith was on the sidelines,
Yeah.
Paul Romanuk was also on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But I think the most entertaining part for us was the 22-yard reception made by number 20 on the Queen's Golden Gales. I don't know if it was the best catch of the game because your teammate Brian Alford had a pretty nice 78-yard touchdown.
There's a story behind that as well. That's great, yeah.
Well, feel free to tell it.
Yeah, well, Brian was he's now an oil engineer in Calgary. I saw him last year. Good friend. He grew up in Eastern Ontario, and he was a track athlete. He was a track star. Ran track at Queen's. He was incredibly fast. He wasn't, football was new to him, and he didn't have the greatest hands. And so throughout his career, there were many times where he was, behind the defense, long ball, and he dropped it. And in the biggest game of his life, we were all so proud of him. He caught it, and he just separated. He took off away from the St. Mary's cornerback and scored an amazing touchdown for him. And then the best catch of the game was Steve Jovetic, who is he's a consultant in Los Angeles now, great guy. And he made a diving, stretched-out catch. I don't know if you saw that on the highlights, but we had a great. I think our receiving core was part of the reason why we racked up 34 points against that defense. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
you're bringing back memories.
Well, your catch, to be fair, was pretty spectacular too. So I want to play that clip for our audience.
Oh boy, you have the clip. Wow.
Pendergast over the middle looking for Kidd. Kidd has the catch and is close to the end zone. They will mark him down at the 1.
You tell me if it's a touchdown or not.
I was about to ask that.
That was the debate.
Gain 6.
There I'm running a long post.
Kidd has the catch.
Oh!
And is close to the end zone. They will mark him down at the 1.
Oh, at the 1. I don't know. What do you think?
It was closer than the 1. If it wasn't in, it was closer than the 1, I think.
Roll left, and now
So
Pendergast
Tim rolls
sets up and
left,
throws
comes
back
back.
against the flow. This is a great catch by Ed Kidd against Cecil Curry. And they mark him down the 1-yard line. Ed Kidd came
Hometown
to
Ottawa,
the
that's not
quarterback
true.
initially.
Hometown
They
Ashton.
moved him over to slot back because Tim Pendergast was going to be their starter. They felt that Kidd was too good of an athlete to have him sitting on the bench.
If Elbert gets the touchdown here, he'll tie the Banyan Cup record.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
That's my good friend Brad. He scored 3 touchdowns in that game, and he's a lawyer in Toronto now.
I was going to say, I feel like you're getting a bit ripped off, Mr. Kidd, because everyone talks about Brad Alberg and his 3 touchdowns, the Banyan Cup record, but no one mentions the fact that his record-setting 3rd touchdown was set up by that highlight reel grab by Mr. Kidd.
Well, I'll remind him of that the next time I see him. No, Brad is a great running back. He was the star of our team, without a doubt. So.
And went on to have a pretty lengthy CFL career, I believe.
That's right. Well, that's great. Thank you.
Well, before we end this, I want to quickly remind everyone the Turkey Bowl is this Sunday, a great new Ridley tradition, so we encourage you to take part. And speaking of new Ridley traditions, Mr. Kidd, we can't let you go until you've attempted the traditional guest basketball shot.
Oh.
Last week, we had a university basketball player on the program.
What if it was a football? I should be throwing a football.
I know. I tried to
How
find
about a target?
I couldn't come up with one.
All right.
Last week we had a university basketball player on, and he missed pretty badly, to be truthful.
Okay.
So we'll see if the university football player.
Okay, all right. So where do I have to shoot from?
About there would be fine, I think.
Right. Oh, way back. Here, give me another one. Too heavy. Oh, too heavy again. Holy cow. I need the backboard. Okay.
Well, Mr. Kidd, thank you so much for doing this again. And now that everyone is aware of your football accomplishments, the pressure is going to be on to have a good showing at the Turkey Bowl.
At the Turkey Bowl, yeah. Well, I encourage everyone to join us again. We're going to have grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12 team, and it should be an afternoon of fun. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
Well, Jordan, I'm glad we got to talk about some real football in that episode and not that lame sport that some people mistakenly refer to as football. Anyway, we gotta go. Thanks to all the fans of the show who tuned in. Ben and I will be back next week, and Nicole will probably ask for like another 3 weeks off. But she said you could email her if you want to join her fan club. This has been the Prefect Report with Jared Sloan, Ben Mandigo, and sometimes Nicole Cappelazzo.
Created by Xanax.
I guess that's the benefit of being such a popular host, Jordan. You can just pick and choose when you want to work, and everyone else has to accept it. Like, if you or I asked Postma for a week off, you'd be like, who do you think you are? Nicole Cappelazzo?